Well, hello my YouTube friends. It's been a while since I've posted a video, and I guess I got out of the habit. A lot has happened since my last video. We've moved out of the bungalow and we're way up on the hill now in the blue house. And I'm finishing up the inside there. But today's video is just going to be about a little project on my HM 126 sawmill. I've made some modifications since you last saw me. I hunted around on Facebook Marketplace and we found a trailer with kind of a rotted deck. I dragged it home from Georgia and we wire brushed it and painted it with good old Rust-Oleum. I ordered some Harbor Freight jacks, trailer jacks, and I welded them on the side. And I mounted the HM 126 sawmill up on this trailer. Now the trailer is wider than the manufacturer's. You can see here it's about a good 5 or 6 feet wide. And I'll lay a deck on here and use it for whatever. For right now, it keeps my cutoffs at waist height, which is real nice. Once I got into the sawmill business, so to speak, I got given some logs that were considered junk, and I've turned them into wood for a deck up there. I've got those drying now. And I took one of the worst ones. I had really no use for it. And I decided to throw it on the mill and use it for the current project. Let me show you what I'm working on. I came up with this rough sketch over coffee this morning. I'm in chicken house mode. You can see from my cutoffs that this was a real knotty, branchy top of a pine tree that didn't have a lot of use for. I needed some 2x4s. So what I did was I knocked this thing down into a cant. I squared it off. I chopped her in half into 2 4-inch pieces, and now I'm just burning off some quick and easy 2x4s on the mill. Well, I must apologize for the bad lighting. I can't do much about the sun. But as you can see, it doesn't really take very long, once you're used to your mill, to rip out some 2x4s, 2x6s. You will always end up, with 1xs, which you can use for a myriad of things. And if you've got a planer, you can turn it into some real nice stuff. So far, this has been a terrific mill for the money, and this trailer is life-changing. The reason the tire is missing is just because of the slope here. When I found the trailer, it turned out to be a dual axle trailer, and I need that tire off for the saw to clear the rubber as I'm sawing down to within 1 inch of the deck. One little sawmill tip is obey the manufacturer's specs for torque on the blade tension. You know, I saw a lot of videos where it was, yeah, it feels good, I think it's tight enough, oh, I can't flex the blade, or odd little things like that. And honestly, blade tension is really important, and it changes the tracking. So let's say one day you have this tensioned to 30 foot-pounds. Blade tracking is perfect. Another day, it's much looser. Well, what happens is the blade will come forward right off the pulley and jump right off. There's a reason I know this, but we won't go into it. So anyway, blade tension. And then the other thing is, I've sharpened this blade 3 times myself with a Dremel tool. It's a piece of cake. I don't know if this is bad or not, but I've been doing it and I get beautiful cuts. For the sharpening, I just use a cheapy Dremel. There's some pretty expensive ones. And I prefer, actually, the 2 sanding drums. They're a little more gentle and easier to control. The small diameter and the larger. So grab yourself a Sharpie. Give yourself a starting point. And then I do the inside, just like this, in here and come up here on each tooth. And work my way around with the blade on the saw, fully tensioned. Then I come back after, and I start at the point and come back, at the point and come back. I find when going from the valley towards the point, the disc tends to roll around that point and dull it. Now, how do you know if it's sharp? You see people say, ah, my blade's dull. It should just catch your skin. If it's catching your skin, it's sharp. When it's dull, you can roll your thumb right across there. So I'm done with the sawmill for the day. Always detension your blade. I go 1, 2, 3. And I always know about where it should be when I tighten it. I left an old socket on here because I have an older mill. And then I grab my torque wrench and just click, make sure that it's perfect. It really doesn't take a whole lot to build a frame for this chicken house or chicken coop. Here's the structure for the floor. It needs to support the weight of an adult who's going to go in and clean and play with her chickens. And then these are corners and cross pieces. And I only really need 2x2s, so I ran the 2x4s through the table saw.
You're being watched?
Yeah. Come on. In the interest of being cheap, I've used some old pressure-treated plywood that actually came on that trailer I bought for the sawmill. Here's the chicken house deck. Now we're going to begin chicken house construction. Alright, if you're going to build this, this would be step 1. This is a 4-foot by 6-foot platform. The rough boards in the front are 6 feet tall. The rough boards in the back are 5 feet tall, and that's going to give us the slope for our roof. Now we're going to add a piece at each corner. All right, now I had to change hats because of the sun. Oh, there goes my pencil. So we're going to add one more board to each corner, and then maybe you'll kind of see where I'm going with this. Once you have your 4 corners completed, the front and back boards we installed, 5 foot in the back and 6 in the front, become kind of the template for this cross piece across the back. And we put one in the front, level with the top of the front boards. And this eventually will give us our nice slope for our roof line. Use a straight edge and mark a line from the top of this back board up to the top of the front one. And then we're going to cut that off, and that's going to help us put our braces on for our roof. Hey look, now you can see me. The sun's kind of gone down. My project stalled because something was calling my name. Well, it warmed up and I couldn't not take this thing for a ride. So anyway, I'm back and I'm finishing up a few things before dinner. So here's the frame of our chicken house. Let me refresh your memory. This is what we're going for. I'm going to build the laying box separate, and it will go right in that gap. But that's just a few hours of work, and all the wood is free, thanks to my sawmill. Just want to throw out something here for you guys if you're trying to come up with an excuse to give your wife, or a reason, I mean, to invest in a sawmill. This sawmill runs in the low 3,000s, and that chicken coop I'm building retails for half the cost of this. So one chicken coop and you get half your money back. Here's a little look at what can be yours for only $16.99 plus shipping. Now you saw how I assembled the basic frame, which was fairly easy. All I have done since then is add the necessary boards to close it all in. I didn't pay much attention to the lengths. I nailed them on longer than necessary, and then afterwards struck a line and cut my roof line, and then I cut my door opening and used some scraps and put together a nice little door. Now out here on the front, I have yet to construct the laying boxes, and I took some scraps of Tyvek house wrap and I've mocked up the future windows so I can cut those openings. Well, there's the openings for the laying box and the two windows. Now on to the laying box. I had a little leftover screen kicking around, so we screened in the windows. And here's a sneak peek inside at the inside of the two windows. Here's the beginning of the laying box. I began with a vertical piece on either end, and then I added the bottom piece. It's kind of like a shelf, and then this back piece, and now I need to make the dividers for the brooding boxes. Well, we're making progress today on the chicken house. The laying box is done. I'll show you how that works. I added a little hook to hold this thing up. And that's what she looks like open. Kind of nice. And then I hung my door, added my hinges. I did some work inside as well. I added a couple of perches for them to roost on. A few more things like the roof next. Almost done cleaning up. I have this little pile. The chicken coop is in its temporary location. I think it looks pretty nice. You know, there's one thing that every chicken coop needs. Chickens! Hi guys! How do you like it? Trying out the nesting box a little bit early. These guys are just a couple weeks old. I'll give you one more look at the construction. Here's my nice little perches. And I have some happy chicks. And eventually, some wonderful eggs. Well, I hoped you enjoyed my little video. And I hope I proved my point. You can pay for half of your HM126 sawmill in just one little interesting project. Now, once I complete that deck on the back of the house, I think just these two projects technically would pay for the whole sawmill. But of course, I've done many other things. It's a worthwhile investment, and I'm sure glad I spent the money. See you next time.